We know why you're here. You want to see the numbers behind our 2020 farming season. So in this video, we're going to share with you all the money that we made and all the money that we spent. Our farm is Red Roof Family Farm, and we just completed our second season farming.
We sell veggies, flowers, eggs, and in the spring we do seedlings. This year we grew on 12,000 square feet, but our property is 2.5 acres.
Before we started farming, we were experienced gardeners, but this is our first experience with actually farming.
So we still have a lot to learn, even after 2 years.
We sell in 3 different ways. We sell at farmers markets, we sell off the farm, either on the roadside or people pulling into our carport, and we do a seedling sale in the spring where we sell lots of like tomatoes, starts, and different flowers.
We've crunched the numbers and we have our tally for 2020. At the farmers market, we sold $14,000. On the farm stand, we sold $7,000, and in the seedling sale, we sold another $7,000. So that brings our entire total for the year to $28,000.
Woohoo, we're rich! Oh, that's so much money.
I am really happy with this number because our goal for this year was to sell $30,000, and that was a goal that we established last year. And so when all the COVID stuff happened, I was really worried that we wouldn't be able to get anywhere near that number. So the fact that we came so close has me really satisfied with, the growth that we did on the farm.
We actually did put a lot of effort into selling food this year. We did 20 farmers markets, and we set up our roadside stand out on the road like 12 times on a Sunday this year. That is a lot of work. We also had our carport open almost 24/7. We kept it stocked and people could just kind of do the self-serve thing there. So we really were trying to sell.
But, these numbers don't really mean anything because these numbers are our gross numbers. Gross is the amount of money that came into the farm. And lots of farmers, when they talk about what their farm does, this is the number that they throw out because it says like what their sales were, what their production was. So this is the number you're gonna hear all the time when people talk about their farms, but it doesn't really give an accurate picture of how much money you make.
Now that you know how rich we are, time to tell you how poor we are.
We sat down and we made a list of all the money we'd spent this year. These numbers are rounded just to make it easier, and these are also in Canadian dollars. So the prices might be a little different than what you spend in your country.
Our first line item is all of our bulbs, our seeds, our perennial plants. We spent about $6,000 on that in 2020. About $4,000 of that was in the spring, and $2,000 of that was our big bulb order in the fall. Our next line item is a big one. It's all of our irrigation supplies for building up all of the irrigation on the farm. This was a major investment this year. $8,000, that's a lot of money. And hopefully it won't be like that every year, but it was like that this year, and it'll probably be a lot of money again next year as well.
We also bought $2,400 in compost. That was 2 dump trucks full, and we used it over the course of the entire season. We had $0 from Uline this year because the year before, all of our packaging, we had more than enough left over, but we still had to top up a little bit, and so we ended up spending about $500 on berry boxes and elastics and bits and pieces. A lot of the farm gear that we buy comes from a Canadian website called Dubois, and this year we think we spent about $1,000 with them.
There's also a local farm supply store, and this year we spent a lot less than we did last year there. We really only spent about $1,000 there, but that number will probably go up again in the future.
In late winter, early spring, we set up a new grow light seedling starting system, and when we went and bought that, it was my Valentine's Day gift.
Yep.
We spent about $1,000. That's the whole system, lights and racks. We also spent about $500 on totes, like Rubbermaids, which we harvest into, and also buckets. I did a very expensive bucket shop.
This year, we finally did it. We got chickens. We've been talking about it for years and years. It was very exciting. The chickens themselves, they cost $600. We got 30 birds and they were $20 each. And our rooster was free. The food for them so far this year has cost us $1,100. We spent about $500 on different chicken gears, like waterers, feeders, all that type of stuff. We spent about $300 on bedding so far, and we had to put in a fence for the chicken run, and that cost us about $500, which brings our grand total for chickens to $3,000. We have paid an electrician about $2,500 for various upgrades, such as running power down to the chicken coop and some other lighting solutions in our outbuilding to help us be more productive during the nighttime.
It was the best money we spent. The lights are amazing.
Yeah, Serina loves the shop lights. We have hired some labor for some weeding and some grass cutting, which was a total of $160. So we got some free labor in there as well. There's a young woman who comes and helps us sometimes during the summer. But other than that and the $160 worth of labor, it was all Serina and I all summer.
Our grand total for all of that spending is $25,000, but these are numbers from just this year. We spent a lot of money last year too. So there's lots of things that we were using over the course of the year that were already paid for. Things like seedling trays, we didn't really buy that at all, but that was a huge expense in our first year. So these are just what we spent this year. And the year isn't over. We are making a really big push to get a walk-in cooler made this year, and our budget for that is about $7,000. So our real 2020 grand total is actually $32,000 when we include in that budget for the walk-in cooler.
You know what that makes us?
That makes us
losers. Makes us losers of money.
That makes us in the negative.
Yeah.
So that means our gross is $28,000 and our net is minus $4,000.
The depressing part about these numbers is that our own labor is valued at $0 for this. So if we actually attached a value to our labor, then accounting wise, our net would have been way lower.
Minus infinity.
Yeah. Minus infinity.
We work for free now, and that's slightly depressing because it feels like we should be getting paid for it. But that isn't the long-term plan. We do not want to be not including labor in the future. In the future, we want our hours to have a number behind them and for that to be tracked and for that to be covered with our sales.
But don't worry about us. Financially, we're all right. I work seasonally in the wintertime. I do forestry work, and so I'm able to make enough money for us doing that, for us to be able to pay our bills for the year. And that leaves our summers open to, grind away at the farming, building the business, and putting in lots and lots of free labor time.
All along, we never planned on making money in these first 2-3 years of the business. Our goals and our long-term sight has always been on being profitable by year 5. We know that there's so many expenses involved in starting this business. All these first year purchases that just add up and add up and add up. So we always knew this is what the numbers were gonna look like, and we're still on track for reaching our profitable at year 5. We're very happy with how these numbers have turned out, and we think that things will be profitable when we get to that year 5, like we've always planned.
We get a lot of people who are new farmers or who are looking to get into farming, asking us questions about, what's your best tip? And my personal best tip is that you should anticipate that you're not going to make money in the first 2 years. And if you get in a crash cash crunch, that could be the end of your business right there. So my advice to new farmers and first-time farmers is to have alternate sources of income for your first couple years while you ease into farming, because you have to both build up your ability to grow food and build up your customer base before you can get them both high enough where you can actually make a lot of revenue to pay yourself a wage, right? So until you are there, don't quit your day job is what I'm saying. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, Ian and I always knew that we were going to be taking a couple-year course in the School of Farmer Hard Knocks. We knew that this free labor we are giving to ourselves in exchange for an education on how to farm was, going to be time well spent. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Hopefully we learned something.
I think we have.
So there you go. How much money we made farming this year.
Zeros.
Both a good amount. I think that some of you might be surprised that we actually had so many sales this year, considering some of the whining that we did mid-season. But also so much not any money.
Yeah.
So two realities.
This is going to be our first video for a little winter series where we're going to talk about the business behind market gardening and selling at markets. And so we're excited to bring some more content on this theme to you. Make sure to check it out. Check.